And a good afternoon as we welcome you to Hyde Stadium as we have three games for you today. Two here on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com as Post State will face Mitchell in game one and then Sturgis in game three as we get started here at 4 o'clock in about 13 minutes. Post State will face Mitchell for the third time this year. John Wickler alongside Greg Dean. And Greg, these two teams, they split all the way back at the beginning of the season. It was Mitchell's third and fourth game of the year, Post State's first and second games of the year. And now we sit here with Post State being 16-8. These are two different teams coming into this ball game, and expect to see a little bit different than what we saw in the 14-4 win for Mitchell, the 9-3 win for Post State.
Yeah, absolutely. And since that game, since that first weekend, Post State has been on has really started to put things together, and up until yesterday had won 15 of 18. Unfortunately, yesterday dropped a couple of heartbreakers, but Mitchell's kind of gone the other direction, and they sit at 11 and 11 on the year. And yesterday got swept by Sioux Falls East. So maybe a tale of a couple of teams going in different directions, but the month of June, even though seed points still count for a lot in terms of where you're going to be at in terms of postseason play, really you want to be playing your best ball, really kind of starting right now and kind of trying to work your way through about that third week of July and go right into the postseason.
Absolutely, and they have a guy that can fix a lot of their problems on the mound here in game one, and that's Brady Hawkins, who got the win in game one back in the beginning of the season for Post State. He's on the mound, but he's going to go against his future college teammate in Garrett Stout. Actually, I believe they're going to be roommates in college, so they're going to battle and have some bragging rights here because they're both starters here in game one. And for Mitchell, we'll start with Mitchell first. Hawkins is a guy that can really correct a lot of what Mitchell has been struggling through by just being dominant on the mound.
Yeah, and he is going to be a pitcher at SDSU. There was some question. He had some collegiate offers to play football. Multi-sport athlete, very well-rounded. But he just looks like a pitcher out on the mound. He stands about 6'3", probably checks in at about 230. I mean, he really has the entire body connection, really that you would want in a big right-handed pitcher. And when Post 8 saw him that first week, that opening day of the season down in Mitchell, he really did a nice job and really did a nice job in terms of trying to shut the Post 8 bats down. Post 8 was able to get some swings on him, put 4 runs, and I can't remember exactly how many hits they had off him, but did enough to win the game down there. I mean, and if they can get a similar performance or maybe a little better performance out of the bats today, and they get a what you would hope would be a typical performance out of Garrett Stout on the mound for Post 8, you would hope that the H could come out with a win today.
Yeah, and for Garrett Stout, he's going to try and continue what he's been doing well, and that's throwing strikes and getting strikeouts. And for this Post State team, got no hit in game two. You hope that's kind of gets corrected, and just a game to chalk up into. It just didn't go our way, and then you kind of start fresh here this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, yesterday was kind of one of those days, and that's how baseball can be. I mean, and in the course of any season, you typically have a couple of games that you win that maybe you probably shouldn't, and you're going to probably lose a couple of games that maybe you probably shouldn't. And yesterday was that latter scenario. They had a couple of games that just got away from them late, and credit to Watertown and Fargo for putting a couple of good swings on the ball at the right time, and congratulations. And so now it's up to Post 8 to pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and hopefully come out with a couple of wins today.
Post State and Mitchell here this afternoon in game one of 3 at Hyde Stadium. We'll have 2 of those 3. We'll have the bookends of the front and the latter part of those 3 games, as it'll be Pierre and Mitchell here this afternoon, then Pierre and Sturgis tonight. As the first pitch is coming up here in just a little bit. We'll step aside for 3 minutes. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com.
Honey.
As we welcome you back here to Hyde Stadium as we get set for Pierre and Mitchell, the third game between these two teams. Will be the third time and final time these two teams meet in the regular season, barring any kind of tournament play that they might see each other in. As Post State will be in the New Dakota Classic next week, Friday, and then the Veterans Classic the following weekend, as that will be the final two tournaments that Post State will play in, as they are taking the field. John Winkler alongside Greg Dean. And Greg, after those two losses, obviously the standings have not been updated completely, but Post State was sitting in fourth place in the seed points going into that game on Wednesday, and now sitting at, I believe, 12-6 in terms of South Dakota games, or excuse me, 12-5 in South Dakota games. So that loss against Watertown could hurt down the stretch, but also Watertown's playing some pretty good baseball, so it might not really factor into too much of a difference between being what seed they might be and what seed they could be.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, really, I mean, everything kind of evolves through the season. And so you just never know exactly how things are going to shake out. You certainly, bottom line is you just try to win every game you can, especially against the South Dakota competition. And that's what we're going to see today is we're going to see a couple of teams in Mitchell and Post State that are bringing their veteran senior pitchers to the game. I mean, this could be a very quick game if both pitchers are bringing their A game today. Garrett Stout on the hill for Post State and Brady Hawkins on the hill for Mitchell.
Yeah, these two guys like to work fast. They like to throw a lot of strikes. And as a coach, as a fan, as a spectator, as a broadcaster, all the sorts as a player, you love when your pitcher likes to work quick and throws a lot of strikes because that keeps you on your toes. You see a much more better defense when guys work fast and throw strikes because of how well they play and how quick they move. It keeps those guys on their toes, and that's exactly what we see from Garrett Stout. Jonah Schmidt will step to the box. We're ready for baseball here. We're going to get started just a little bit early. Nothing wrong with that here on this Thursday evening. Glad you could join us. First pitch is upstairs for ball one. And it's at 3:57 here this afternoon as we are underway at Hyde Stadium. John Winkler alongside Greg Dean. The 1-0 pitch, that one's popped up, and it'll be out of play, and it's now 1-1.
Game time temp is 94 degrees with a feels-like temperature of 97.
And Post State wearing their black jerseys as that one's grounded foul, now 1-2. So not doing themselves any favor of trying to stay out of the heat. Black doesn't really help too much when you wear those jerseys.
Yeah, the Eights have three different uniform tops. They wore what they call their T-shirt top yesterday over in Watertown. So the blacks today, and probably the greens will be the next one in line.
And Jonah Schmidt strikes out swinging on a fastball. He was well behind. And the first man is retired, and that will bring up Kobe Larson. He'll be followed by Brady Hawkins, the pitcher. Peyton Nash will bat fourth and play center field. Austin Kerr, the third baseman, batting fifth. Ryan Mcginnis, the catcher, batting sixth. Brady Brose is the first baseman, batting seventh. Parker Bollinger is the right fielder, batting eighth. And Isaac Rue will round out the order as he plays left field here in this first ball game of the day. The 1-0 pitch is way upstairs, now 2-0. That one got through the glove of Hinkle into the backstop. Garrett Stout, he threw 3 innings on Saturday and or in the Minot tournament. Get him some work in, but he was ready to go here for this game on Thursday. It's now 3-0, though, here to the number 2 hitter in Kobe Larson for Mitchell. Kobe Larson, he went 2 for 5 back on June 7th in the first games for Post State. The 3-0 is upstairs, a 4-pitch walk. So after a strikeout, turns into a walk, and that'll bring in Brady Hawkins.
Stout comes into the game with 9 1/3 innings under his belt in 3 games. He's 2-0 on the year. The 1.50 ERA and 1.29 WHIP, 15 strikeouts, 6 walks in those 9 1/3 innings.
Here's Brady Hawkins. He hits number 3 in the order. He hit 4th and 3rd in games 1 and 2. And the first pitch goes inside to the future roommate to Garrett Stout as that's missed for ball 1. He went 3rd in game number 2. He hit cleanup in game 1, went 0 for 5 in those 2 games. Here's the 1-0. That one's way upstairs. And now it's 2-0. The ball gets off the glove of Hinkle, and Stout's struggling to find the strike zone after getting the strikeout. He's thrown 6 straight, and Hinkle will head out to talk with Stout as Larson's on at second now.
Yeah, and Garrett's been high with most of those last 6 balls, and so that's just he's just got to make an adjustment with his release point and come work down the hill and just try to bring that release point down a little bit. And I think right now he's just he's probably feeling pretty good. Probably needs to tire out a little bit just to try to get a little feel for the game and get rid of some of that adrenaline.
He does find the strike zone there, now 2-1. And Hawkins will dig back in, ready to swing. Probably taking all the way on that 2-0 pitch. 2-1 is outside now, 3-1. That one goes away from Hinkle, but not taking third was Larson. And Hinkle's having a little bit of trouble grabbing the ball from Stout, although a lot of them have been pretty high pitches to Hinkle. Here's the 3-1 pitch from Stout. Curveball misses upstairs, and it's back-to-back walks. And they'll bring in Peyton Nash, and you don't see this very often from Garrett Stout, where he's consistently missing the strike zone, but 8 of his last 9 have gone nowhere close to the zone.
Yeah, just like we talked about just a bit ago, 6 walks in 9 innings. I mean, he's not one who's gonna miss the strike zone much.
First pitch to Peyton Nash is taken for strike 1. As Nash digs in for the first time, he went 2 for 5 in that doubleheader against Post State. The 0-1 pitch from Stout. That one's fouled back, and it's out of play. It's now 0-2. And Stout's trying to find the strike zone. That's 2 straight strikes, and that will hopefully allow him to get settled down. Here's the 0-2 from Stout to Peyton Nash. After a couple of checks at second, pitch on its way, and upstairs now 1-2.
Looks like Garrett's velocity is hanging right in about what you would expect. On most days, he's going to sit in the mid to high 80s. He has touched as high as 91 this year, so he's going to bring the good velocity, especially on a warm day like this.
Here's the 1-2 pitch, fouled back and out of play, and remains at 1-2. And the state workers still have not gone off for the weekend yet, so there's a lot of cars lined up on the side of Hyde Stadium and a lot of targets over there for a lot of these. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Grounded to the right side. That'll be fielded by Coverdale. The only play is to first to Zabel, and there's now 2 down, and second and third for Austin Kerr. As we go around the horn defensively for Post State, River Iverson's playing left. It is Matt Luskin center and A.J. Gayden in right field. Andy Gordon's over at third base. Lincoln Keno's at shortstop. Andrew Coverdale is at second. Gray Zabel, the first baseman, and Cade Hinkle behind the plate. Here in game 1, as Stout delivers the first pitch inside to Austin Kerr, trying to work around those 2 walks. He's got 2 outs, but 2 men in scoring position. As Kerr digs in, waits on the 1-0 pitch. That one is at the edge on the outside, now 1-1.
Yeah, and this is a big at bat for both sides. If Stout can get out of this and keep 2 runners in scoring position without giving up a run here in this first inning, that'll be an accomplishment for him. Likewise, on the other side of the coin, if Mitchell can get a couple of runs early and put some pressure on the 8s, that'll be an advantage for them.
2-1 pitch is fouled out of play and is now 2-2, and Stout's a strike away from trying to get out of this 2-out jam here in the top of the first inning. Stout will work from the windup here with runners at second and third. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Looked out for strike 3. Kirk could not pull the trigger, and he goes down on strikes, and Stout bookends the inning with strikeouts. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. No score from Mitchell in the top of the first. Pierre coming to the plate. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here to Hyde Stadium as we are getting set to the bottom of the first inning. As Post State, their lineup looks like this. Garrett Stout will lead off. He is the pitcher. Lincoln Keenels will bat second, playing short. Andrew Coverdale moved to the number 3 spot as he's the second baseman. Andy Gordon will bat in the cleanup spot, playing third base. Gray Zabel's hitting 5th, playing first. River Iverson will bat 6th, play left field. Matt Luss is batting 7th, playing center. A.J. Gaden's out in right field, batting 8th. And Cade Hinkle rounds out the lineup as he is the catcher here in Game 1 for Post State. Garrett Stout will lead things off, and they're going against Brady Hawkins. They saw him back in Game 1 of the season. Hawkins went 4 innings, gave up 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, did not walk a single batter, and picked up the win. He did hit one guy, did Hawkins, but it was that was the only blemish in the free pass from Hawkins.
Stout in on the year, team leader in hits, doubles, tied for the team lead in triples, also leads the team in home runs. He has a team high batting average of 453. So a little change in the lineup to put Stout up at the top of the lineup. Have seen Andrew Coverdale there most of the year.
The 0-1 is missed now 1-1 the last time. The only time that Garrett Stout has led off of a game, he or been the leadoff spot. He hit 2 home runs. One being a walk-off grand slam. The 1-1 pitch is grounded to the left side, fielded by the shortstop, bobbled by Larson. He has no play, and the leadoff man is aboard. And it will put Stout on with Lincoln Keenels to come to the plate. And it'll be an error charge to the shortstop in Larson.
The error bug continues to pop up and bite Mitchell Post 18. I think they had 5 errors in each one of their games yesterday against Sioux Falls East. So first play of the day, and they've already got an error on the board.
And Coach Gordon probably not too pleased with that. The first pitch to Lincoln Keenels is taken for a strike. One didn't pull the trigger. Keenels moved up to the number 2 spot. Had been hitting near the bottom of the order and probably gotten up to about maybe 6th spot as high as he's been, but now moves up to number 2. He will show bunt, pull it back, and it's now 1-1. I think the rationale for Coach White is Keenels hasn't the batting average isn't there, but he puts the ball in play quite a bit, and he is a good bunter that can move Stout over and put Coverdale, Gordon, and Zabel up to the plate after that, and can really, as there's a pickoff attempt, Stout was leaning towards second, was able to dive back in safely to move him over into scoring position and give those guys that have a really good batting average in Coverdale, who doesn't get a whole lot of RBI chances just because he's in the leadoff spot, but then Gordon and Zabel, who can hit the ball really well and have a lot of RBIs. There's a hit and run as Stout will steal second. He's going to get it easily as Keenels swings and misses, and it's now 1-2. There's another thing there, too, is the hit and run, and Stout can steal with the best of them, and there was no real chance to get Stout at second.
Yeah, and that was a kind of a protection swing from Keenholz. The ball looked like it was on the outside edge, and he didn't really even have much of a chance to try to put a bat on that play. But he swung through the pitch just as a way to help protect Garrett Stout, and it showed because Stout was in safe at second by a couple of steps.
The count remains 1-2 as Keenels fouls it away. He went 0 for 6 on that doubleheader. That was his first Senior Legion games of his career. And Keenels struggled through the first several games trying to pick up that first hit. The 0-2, Keenels does go around as he tried to hold up, but he will strike out swinging. And there's one down here in the bottom of the first, and I'll bring in Andrew Coverdale, who is going to feel in a much different spot than normal, especially in the first inning. Really, yesterday, Coverdale came up to bat and led off about maybe 5 or 6 of his 7 at-bats of an inning. First pitch to Coverdale is upstairs for ball 1.
Yeah, Coverdale comes in hitting .380 on the year, .515 slugging average, and an OPS on base plus slugging average of .933. So a very good offensive year so far for Andrew Coverdale.
The 1-0 is fouled back to the screen, now 1-1.
Tied for the team lead in triples with 3 and leads the team, which you would expect out of a productive offense for the leadoff hitter. He leads the team in runs scored at 25.
And a lot of those times he came around to score, Then because of the guy out at second base, as that one's fouled down the first base line. Now 1-2, and the guy that's on deck and Andy Gordon, who have done a really good job. Those two guys have done a really good job of driving in Coverdale more times than not. Although the batting average with runners in scoring position, you might be able to find that a little bit easier than I can, is not what you would really want it to be, as Coverdale barely is able to get a piece of it and foul back to the screen and stays alive at 1-2.
Yeah, and the thing that you just like about Andrew Coverdale is whenever he makes contact, and that's most of the time, because he's only struck out 5 times during the year. Everything seems to be hit on a line. He doesn't hit very much up in the air. He doesn't hit a ground ball very often. And when he does, it's hit. When he does, it's hit hard and hit through, as we see with that 380 batting average. But Andrew just hits everything. He really does a good job barreling up balls.
The 1-2 pitch was high. Stout was off for third and was able to dive in safely. So now he is on third with one down, and a base hit or just a ball to the outfield will drive in that first run of the game. 2-2 pitch, and there's a swing and a miss, and Coverdale goes down on strikes, and there's now 2 down. And that'll bring in Andy Gordon.
Yeah, and I suspect you may see both teams to be a little more aggressive on the base paths today, play a little bit more small ball, as runs likely will be at a premium with 2 premium pitchers on the mound, and Brady Hawkins for Mitchell and Garrett Stout for Pierre.
So Gordon, who went 4 for 7 on the weekend against Mitchell, he will step to the plate for the first time. The first pitch is taken for strike 1. He has his only home run of the season, came on that opening weekend in that doubleheader. And for Gordon, he also drove in a run. He had 3 hits. He had 3 of the 9 hits that Post State picked up yesterday in the 2 games, although all 9 of those hits were in game 1 and none were in game 2. Count is now 1-1 here to Andy Gordon.
Gordon comes into the game hitting .344, leading the team in RBIs at 18.
The 1-1 pitch on the outside corner, now 1-2. And Hawkins is painting, and he's filling up that outside corner.
Gordon pretty well slotted into that number 3 spot in the order from almost the first day of the season. He hasn't been out of that spot very much.
And the 1-2 pitch is a curveball that tails in and gets the inside corner to strike out Gordon. And Hawkins will strike out the side. And no runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 man left on base. 1 inning complete here at Hyde Stadium. We have no score between Mitchell and Pierre. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. It is the top of the second inning, and it's going to be for Mitchell, 6, 7, and 8. Ryan Mcginnis, Brady Bros, and Parker Bollinger. And if anybody gets on base, it'll be down to Isaac Rue, the number 9 hitter. As Post States, they are looking for a win number 17 in the season. They could get a doubleheader sweep, or I guess a 2-game sweep here, because they aren't playing back-to-back games. But if they can get 2 wins here tonight, they will go back to 10 games over 500. As they sit at 16-8, first pitch is grounded to the right side for Coverdale, as Mcginnis will hit that slow roller and fielded by Coverdale. The throw to first is in time, and 1 pitch and 1 out here to open up the top of the second and bring up Brady Bros.
Yeah, pitchers love one pitch at bats. Just if you can take all those extra pitches off your arm and not get into an extended at bat, especially on a day like today, where you've got a hot day. The quicker you can get off your feet and back in the dugout, that just helps you go longer into the game.
Here's Brady Bros, 1 for 6 in the doubleheader weekend. Back in June 7th, the 1-0 pitch is over for strike 1. as Garrett Stout into his second inning. We'll see him probably go as far as he can possibly go, as Sioux Falls East is Monday. It's now 2-1. That's the only game until you get to the following Friday that Post State has to win, as that one's fouled off of Bros, and it's now 2-2. Because the games against Minot Monday night and then that one game on Tuesday, they don't matter in seed points, so Stout can go the max 105 and not have to worry that he's not available, because they don't play another, outside of Sioux Falls East, they don't play another South Dakota team until next week Friday. The count is now 3-2 here to Brady Bros, with one down in the top of the second. From the windup, the 3-2. That one's out towards right field. A.J. Gayden will go back on it. It's going to get over his head, and it's going to roll to the wall. Bros around first. He's on to second. He will stop at second with a one-out double. That's the first hit of the ball game for either side. And and Mitchell is in business here with one down in the top of the second.
Yeah, it looked like Gayden had a little bit of trouble picking that ball up off the bat. It looked like he was kind of slow to react out there, and unfortunately for the Eights, just skipped over the top of his glove even after he caught up with the ball, and so because of that, Bros is standing on second base, and Mitchell's got a little bit of a threat going here with one out in the top of the second.
Here is Parker Bollinger, the right fielder here in game number 1 for Mitchell, as Bollinger went 0 for 1 in that doubleheader, played in just game number 2, which was a 9-3 win for Post State. First pitch is taken for strike 1. Post State lost the first game of the year and came back and won game 2 of that doubleheader. And then were swept by Post 22 and then went on to win 15 of the next 18 games. And even though they were swept on Wednesday, that's still 15 of 20. That's a pretty good mark for Post State, or for not just for Post State, for any team, as the 1-1 is upstairs now 1-1.
Yeah, if you can win 75% of your games at any level, whether it's Little League, Post State, high school football, whatever the case, if you win 3/4 of your games, you're doing something right.
1-1 pitch. That one's hit out towards left field. Iverson will wait on it. He'll come in and make the catch, and there's now 2 away. And that will bring in Isaac Rue. As Rue comes in, he had a pretty good doubleheader, 3 for 4 against Post State back on June 7th. And it's hard to think, too, that as we sit here at July 2nd, that it's almost been a month ago that we opened up Legion Baseball. It does not feel like it's been that long. But we've played 24 games. This is our 25th game of the season, and you hope that if you make it all the way to the state championship, I believe at that point there's just a little, right now it would be a little over 25 games remaining in the season. So if you make the state championship, we're right around the halfway point.
Yep, that sounds like good. I mean, and you know, even in an abbreviated season like this has been, I mean, if you can get 50 games in, that's a real accomplishment. And so far, the weather has been kind to Post State. Haven't had any rainouts.
The 1-1 pitch from Stout to Rue is upstairs now 2-1. And that's we will keep an eye on the weather, because there's a severe thunderstorm watch to the west of us. And even though it might not be in Pierre, it might still be around Pierre. If there's lightning in the area, we might not be able to keep playing at that point. 2-1 pitch is right down the middle now, 2-2.
Yeah, I think that watch extends to Stanley County, so it is not far from the borders of Hughes County, and in all likelihood, you got to expect that maybe that severe weather statement may continue to work its way east as the night progresses.
Stout will come for the stretch. Here is the 2-2 pitch to Isaac Rue. The time was called. It was a high pitch, but it's not going to register, and it will remain at 2-2. So somewhat of a redo there for Stout, and he might have gone high just because time was called. Not too many times. You see a lot of guys stop that motion, and you've kind of been told just go ahead and finish it, throw it all the way through, doesn't matter. 2-2 pitch. Rue did a good job of holding up. That curveball went through the zone, or tried to go through the zone, but fell off the table. Now 3-2.
Umpires today, and they're getting ready for Independence Day, decked out in their flag shirts.
3-2, swinging a miss, and Stout will pick up his third strikeout of the ball game and end the inning here in the top of the second. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We've played an inning and a half. We have no score. Post State coming to the plate. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Bottom of the second inning, as we will have 5, 6, and 7. Gray Zabel, River Iverson, and Matt Lust will lead things off. If anybody gets on base, it'll be A.J. Gaden. As Hawkins finishes warm-up tosses. During the commercial break, they were both umpires, along with Coach Nathan Nas and Hawkins, were all at the mound kind of looking at potential of something maybe not looking right on the mound, but outside of maybe kicking around some dirt, everybody walked away and seemed to not be too concerned with how the mound was looking. But seeing Stout struggle a little bit, Hawkins seemed to not really have his. Oh, now here comes Coach Nas over at the mound. So there is something not right with this. Well,
looks like there's a couple of chunks of clay that must have come up. Maybe just as the mound took a little water as they prepped the mound, and maybe the clay must have held together in some way, shape, or form. Actually, they look like almost pieces of rock.
So here is Gray Zabel as Nas will dispose of that heavy rock clay. The first pitch is taken for strike one to Zabel. He went 2 for 5 on that weekend against Mitchell as he picked up an RBI. One of the 2 RBIs in the ball game or on the day yesterday. Gordon had the other of the 2. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That one will miss inside, and that 1-1. Zabel and Hawkins, pretty good friends. As Hawkins was making his way across, Mitchell arrived. He had to walk across the first base dugout, and Zabel is trying to chirp at him a little bit. The 1-1 is grounded to the shortstop Larson. The throw to first is high, but a good stretch there from Bros. And the leadoff man is retired here to open up the bottom of the second inning.
Yeah, and again, we're already in the bottom of the second inning, and this game is just a little bit over 20 minutes old. And so if things continue to hold, kind of like we had talked in the pregame, this could be a game that goes fairly fast.
First pitch to Iverson is taken for strike one. The third baseman and Kerr is playing in on the edge of the infield grass, and that's probably a smart move whenever Iverson comes to the plate because he likes to bunt the ball and try and reach base on a bunt single. The 0-1 is missed upstairs, now 1-1 to the number 6 hitter, River Iverson. He had just 2 at-bats back on June 7th and went 1 for 2. Here's the 1-1. Now it is 1-2 as that one's fouled back to the screen.
Stout with 38 pitches through the first 2 innings, 20 for strikes, faced 9 batters. Hawkins is currently sitting at 24 pitches through an inning and a third and working on his second batter here in the second.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. Iverson out towards right center field. That one's going to get down for a base hit, and that one's going to get to the gap. Did not take the roll that he wanted. Had a little top spin on it. He's going to get to second, though, standing up with a 1-out double. And Iverson's got the first post-8th hit of the ball game, and he is in scoring position now for Matt Lusk to step to the plate.
Yeah, and just did a nice piece of hitting by River Iverson. Just didn't swing too hard. Just tried to let Hawkins's velocity, do the work for him. Just put a good swing on the ball. Put the barrel on that fastball and lined it out into right center field. With Iverson's speed, he's into second standing up.
And with Matt Lusk stepping to the plate, went 3 for 5 in that doubleheader against Mitchell, but he probably hit the ball the hardest out of anybody yesterday. He roped one down the third baseline. The third baseman had to jump. As he jumped up, the glove was behind his head to make the catch as it was all but past him. First pitch is taken for strike one. Those are pretty frustrating as a hitter when you end up hitting one on a line, felt good off the bat, and get robbed of a base hit. Sometimes those are really tough to head back to the dugout, even though that's the game of baseball. You fail 70% of the time.
Yeah, you can do everything right. You can barrel one up. You can hit it on a line drive and hit a screamer somewhere and just hit right into somebody's glove, and then you can hit this little bleeder that goes about 30 feet down the first base line and end up with a single.
As the 1-1 pitch is on the corner, now 1-2 here to Matt Lusk. On deck is A.J. Gaden. Hawkins works from the stretch. He's shaking off about maybe 5 or 6 pitches there. He's got a lot in his arsenal. 1-2 pitch is upstairs now, 2-2. And as a hitter, too, when you see that pitcher start shaking off 5, 6 different pitches, you're going, what in the world is it? Is he not making up his mind? Does he have that many pitches? You're getting a little concerned of why he's shaking off everything. Here's the 2-2. Upstairs now, 3-2. Most of the time you see somebody step off or call time because things just don't feel right when that happens.
Going back to the mound, when you're a former pitcher, John. I mean, were you a little fussy about how you liked the mound to be set up when you were pitching?
Absolutely. 3-2 pitch, swing and a miss, and Lusk goes down on strikes. The fourth strikeout of the ball game now for Brady Hawkins, and that'll bring up A.J. Gaden. I shouldn't say hated any mound, but every mound felt a little bit different, and there are some that were really great. The next time I went to go pitch, I was not talking very kindly about that mound as I was coming off of the first inning. First pitch was taken for strike one to A.J. Gaden, because although mounds are usually supposed to be the same, every mound is just a little bit different, and sometimes that feeling of a mound, especially when you're on the road, as that one misses low for ball one, it turns into just feeling different. You don't get the right footing like you do at home. And for Hawkins and even Stout looked like he struggled a little bit, that sometimes that mound just doesn't want to, no matter how much you dig in to try and get your footing, you just can't seem to get your footing right. That one's fouled away by Gaden, now 1-2.
Did you like working off of a taller mound or a shorter mound, or did you have a preference?
Taller mound depends on how tall how steep that mound got. Because there was a couple of times where there was just, you were on the bottom, you were on the dirt in the infield, and then you're on top of the mound in one step. There's other times where he had the gradual walk up there. 1-2 is looked out for strike three, and the Gaden goes down on strikes. The fifth strikeout of the ball game for Brady Hawkins. No runs, one hit, no errors, and one man left on base. 2 innings are complete. We have no score between Pierre and Mitchell. You're listening to Post-State Baseball on today's KCCR, today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here to Hyatt Stadium, top of the third inning, it is going to be the top of the order. Jonah Schmidt, Kobe Larson, and Brady Hawkins to lead things off for Mitchell as they bat here with no score in the top of the third inning. Garrett Stouts and some more work on the mound a little bit after the bottom of the second inning was over. The first pitch is a swing and a miss from Jonah Schmidt, and it's 0-1. He's one of 3 strikeout victims to Garrett Stout through the first 9 hitters. The 0-1 is not swung at, but taken for strike 2, and is now 0-2. There's more clay rock that got taken away from the mound.
And it looks like Stout's maybe starting to dial in a little bit after he's got those first 40 pitches under his belt. Looks like he's kind of developing a rhythm, and looks like that off-speed stuff is starting to fall in for strikes.
1-2 pitch. That one's fouled back. Just barely got a piece of Jonah Schmidt. Schmidt, Larson, and Hawkins. Larson and Hawkins both drew a walk. The 1-2 again. That one's upstairs now, 2-2. 1 hit apiece so far through 2 innings for both Mitchell and Post State. No runs. There is 1 error committed by Mitchell. Or has left 2 men on base. That one's popped up on the infield on the right side. Coverdale's going to come over for it, and he is going to make the catch. And right in front of the first baseman, Gray Safel, and there's 1 down here to open up the top of the third inning. He looks at the dugout going, Coverdale called for it. He took it. He called for it. He makes the play.
Yeah, because Coverdale came from his position right on the outfield grass, just in kind of a normal second base position. And by the time he tracked that ball down and the wind played with it a little bit, he was about 1 step in front of the first base bag, and Gray Zabel was catching a little ribbing from the Pierre dugout after that.
0-1 pitch to Larson's upstairs, and it's now 1-1. That Zabel didn't really have too much reaction, but that kind of reminds me of the Elvis Andrus, Adrian Beltre friendship that they had in Texas. Now 2-1 as Beltre or Andrews, whoever it is that was trying to make a catch, and the other one would act like they're making the catch at the same time, or they would be staring at each other as one called off the other. Now 3-1's the count. The fun that they had between that third baseman and shortstop, that's what baseball is all about. Now 3-2 here to Kobe Larson.
Yeah, because I think the Pierre dugout was giving Zabel a little bit of a bad time. He just kind of looked over, kind of had a big smile on his face, kind of put his hands out to the side and say, like, what?
Here's a 3-2, fouled back, and we'll do it again at 3-2.
Yeah, and again, if you're post 8, if you're Garrett Stout, again, you're really looking for some quick innings. I mean, the best thing for him right now is just try to minimize the pitch count and try to keep this on pace as much as possible. What you'd really like out of him is to get a complete game, keep him under that 105 pitch count. But right now he's starting to work up a little bit. I think he's up over 50 pitches now, and so he's going to have to get a couple of quick innings if he's going to stay under 105.
The 3-2 missed for ball 4. Here's the first pitch to Brady Hawkins, taken for strike 1. He walks his first plate appearance, was stranded at second, as both Stout and Hawkins are able to reach base in their first plate appearances against each other. The 0-1 is outside now, 1-1. Again, these two guys will be playing at SDSU next year. Hawkins will be a pitcher. Stout will be an infielder, although they're facing each other from the pitcher to batter right now. Stout comes set. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That one's on the outside corner now, 1-2. And I bet you at some point early on in their freshman year that these games will be talked about a little bit, and especially these at-bats. And remember when I struck you out in this game, or as that was a pickoff attempt and diving back in safely as Larson, or if one guy gets a big base hit, and that might be a talking point several times during their freshman year.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's gonna be some good natured ribbing, a little smack talk going back and forth between the roommates. I mean, that's just the nature of being a college freshman.
1-2 pitch, swing and a miss, and Hawkins goes down on a strike. So there's a talking point and smack talk for Garrett Stout towards his future roommate Brady Hawkins, as Peyton Nash will come to the plates with 2 down. He ground out to Coverdale in his first at bat. First pitch, runner is off for a second. The throw towards second. A good throw from Hinkle, but Kino couldn't quite grab it. And in safely at second is Larson. And it's 1-0 to the number 4 hitter in Peyton Nash.
Yeah, and that's an unfortunate play because the throw from Hinkle was in plenty of time to get Larson at second base, and unfortunately Keen Olsen was not able to cleanly field the ball and put the tag on, and so Mitchell has a runner in scoring position now with 2 outs.
And the 1-0 gets above Nash into the backstop, and over to third now is Larson, and there's now a runner at third with 2 down, and the count is 2-0 to the left-handed hitting Peyton Nash. Larson is on at third. Nash looking to drive him in. Now 3-0. We'll most likely see a take here from the right fielder. Excuse me, the center fielder, Nash. 3-0 pitch from the windup. That one misses, and it's a 4th walk issued by Stout here in the ballgame. And uncharacteristic like of Stout through 2 2/3 innings with 4 walks issued already.
Yeah, only walked 5 on the year in his first 3 appearances, but has 4 today. And so what Garrett really needs to do is just focus on the batter at the plate right now, and just forget about the runners here with 2 outs in a 0-0 ball game.
Austin Kerr struck out looking his first at bat. First pitch is at the letters for strike 1. Trying to work out of another jam. 2 guys were left stranded in the first inning, both at second and third. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That one's fouled back, and Kerr was well behind that fastball. And if I'm Hinkle and Stout, that number 1 is going to be dropped down, and Stout just try and blow it by Kerr.
Yeah, I think right now until Kerr proves that he can get around on that fastball, I think you just keep pumping fastballs at him until he's able to show that he can hit that ball.
There's a breaking ball that will get to Coverdale on a short hop, and a good play there by Coverdale. That's a tough hop to make, and Coverdale fielded it cleanly and to retire the side to end the top of the third inning. No runs, no hits, 1 error, and 2 men left on base. We head to the bottom of the third inning. Post States and Mitchell are scoreless. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Bottom of the third inning. It is no score here at Hyde Stadium. Post State have 9-1-2. As Hinkle will bring Stout and then Keenholz to the plate. 9, the bottom of the order, back to the top for Brady Hawkins to work against, as he has struck out 5 of the 8 guys he has faced so far. Stout reached on an error, was able to ground it out, and Iverson doubled. Everybody else has struck out so far against Hawkins. He had 7 strikeouts in the first game. Excuse me, only 4 strikeouts in the first game against Post State, so he's already topped that in just 2 innings. Here's the first pitch to Cade Hinkle. That one is over for strike 1. Hinkle went 1 for 5 in the doubleheader back on June 7th. The 0-1 pitch from Hawkins to Hinkle. That one's out towards center field, going back on its Nash. He'll be able to turn and face home plate, make the catch, and the leadoff man is retired. Here to open up the bottom of the third. Wind's kind of blowing in a little bit. It is blowing in. It's not kind of, it is, as that one really held up for Nash, the center fielder, to have an easy play out there in center.
Yeah, and right now, even though there's zeros on the scoreboard, the difference right now is Hawkins is just a little bit more effective with his pitch count. He's still under 40 pitches so far through 2 1/3. But other than the 1 hit, he has not allowed a walk. Whereas Stout's only allowed 1 hit, but he's walked 4, and his pitch count is actually up over 60.
As the first pitch is taken for strike 1, got to the backstop, but still over for strike 1. There's a ground ball to the right side, diving towards the second baseman Schmidt, and it goes into right field for a 1-out single. And Stout is now 1 for 2. He's been on base twice, and that'll bring up Lincoln Keenholz, who struck out swinging in his first at-bat. That was a good piece of hitting there from Stout, and he continues to swing a hot bat for Post State. Keenholz will see if he has a bunt to lay down, as that one's thrown over to first, and back in safely is Stout, although with 1 down. But you like the chances if Stout's on second for Coverdale to come up in any situation, 0 outs, 1 out, 2 outs, to try and get a base hit to drive him in. Here's the first pitch. Instead, again, check over to Stout, and he's diving back in safely.
Yeah, and expect the running game to come into play here with 1 out. I would not be surprised if you see either a straight out steal at some point in this at bat or a hit and run and try to get Stout into scoring position.
Here's the first pitch now to Keenholz. Swing and a miss. And it's 0-1. Keenholz was swung on top of that one. The third baseman and Kerr is playing in on the grass. I haven't really seen him move back at all in any of the at-bats from Post State so far. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Upstairs now 1-1. It's kind of how Andy Gordon plays third base over there. He doesn't care who, if it's the number 3 hitter, number 9 hitter, he's going to play right on that grass and truly plays that hot corner over there.
Yeah, they call it the hot corner for a reason, because that ball will get on you really quickly. And so if you've got a good third baseman who has some good lateral movement, can take a couple steps either direction, that's really what you need is maybe not the biggest and largest of ranges over there, but if you can be quick and either move a couple steps left or right in a fraction of a second, you'll be a pretty good third baseman.
2-1's the count. Hawkins from the stretch, swinging a miss. Now 2-2, and Hawkins is trying to bear back down and get the second out of the inning, which would also be a 6th strikeout if he does complete another one. Shading a little bit towards left center field as the left fielder and Rue. Here's the 2-2 pitch. That was off, and Keenels will foul it back out of play, and we'll do it again at 2-2. The one thing is Stout, and then you look at Coverdale too. Those two guys, they read the pitcher well. They read a pitch in the dirt really well, and they see that pitch. They almost see a step ahead of a pitch coming in. They know when it's going to hit the dirt, and they always have good jumps on those pitches. Here's a 2-2. Stout's off again. Keenels again will foul it away, protect pitch, and Stout's getting his cardio in and maybe make that arm a little less sore going tomorrow. Already getting his running in for the day.
Yeah, what you're trying to do as a runner on first base, if you're trying to steal second, is with a right-handed pitcher on the mound, his back is to you, so there's no way that he can pivot and turn and throw to first without picking up that back heel, without picking up that right heel. So you're really focusing on that right heel.
There's a ground ball to the shortstop, fielded by the shortstop. The throw to first is not in time, as they will get Stout at second, the 6'4" fielder's choice. And there's now 2 down. And Stout, the one time he wasn't running the last 3 pitches, ends up grounding into a fielder's choice. And it'll bring up Andrew Coverdale with 2 down, and Keenel is on at first.
Yeah, and so back to that point, when you're the runner on first, you're really bullet focused in on that back heel, on that right heel. And if you see any movement, there's no way possible for the right-handed pitcher to throw to first base. So that's your motion to go. And
Keenels will steal second. He'll dive in as both the shortstop and second baseman had a real late break trying to get to the bag. The catcher and Mcginnis just threw it over to the bag, and Schmidt had to jump up and then try and dive to make that tag, but Keenels did it safely.
Yeah, Mcginnis did exactly what he was supposed to do. What every catcher is taught is throw it to the base, and if the ball is there but the fielder isn't, it's not your fault as the catcher. You did your job, and like you said, Schmidt was late breaking, but still ended up making a fairly close play. Keenels had to slide in head first and just was there by about half a step.
The 0-1 pitch is out towards right center field. Coming in on it's the center fielder, and he will call off Bollinger, and Nash will make the catch and end the inning here in the bottom of the third. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. 3 full completes here at Hyde Stadium. Still no score between Pierre and Mitchell. You're listening to Post-State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here to Hyde Stadium, John Winkler alongside Greg Dean as he's getting harassed here in the press box here at Hyde Stadium as we head to the top of the 4th inning, and Ryan Mcginnis will lead things off, 6, 7, and 8. Brady Bros and Parker Bollinger. You really don't get a whole lot of relief around here. You get grief all the time.
Well, it's like there was one time several years ago when I got some sage advice from all three of my boys, and they said, "Dad, you just need some new friends."
Here's the 1-0 pitch. That one misses low. Now 2-0. Have you gotten those new friends yet?
I haven't figured them out yet.
As it's 2-0 to Brady Bros, to Ryan Mcginnis. He grounded out to the second baseman and Coverdale. The 2-0 pitch from Stouts. That one is over for strike one. Well, eventually, I guess you'll get those new friends, or either that or you have to stick with the old ones.
Yeah.
2-1 is over for strike two, now 2-2.
Yeah, the old ones are actually okay. They're more tolerable some days than others.
The 2-2 is swinging a pitch, swinging a miss in the dirt as Mcginnis goes down on strikes. That is the fourth strikeout of the ball game. The fifth strike of the ball game for Garrett Stout. And then I'm bringing Brady Bros, who has the lone hit of the ball game for Mitchell. He doubled back in the top of the second. He and Larson are the only two that have not been retired so far. The first pitch is over for strike one. Larson's walked twice in his two plate appearances. The 0-1 pitch. That one's chopped. The first baseman, Zabel. That goes off his glove. He's able to get it back. He flips it to Stout, and they still get the out at first. Oh, now they're going to say that Stout was bobbling the ball and that he's going to be safe over at first.
Yeah, that was a ball that really came up on Zabel here right at the end. Had a lot of topspin on it, and he wasn't quite ready for that ball to take that last up, and it kind of hit the back of his glove, popped up in the air, and he tried to. He was able to glove the ball, but tried to race to the bag. Saw he wasn't going to get there in time, so at the last minute he flipped it to Stout and just didn't make the exchange correctly, and because of that, Bros is on for the second time today.
Here's Bollinger as he swings at the 1-0 pitch and fouls it away. Now 1-1. That was an odd play too, because Zabel is able to somehow get his arm up to get that ball straight up in the air and not get it off to the side and able to come right back down to him. So the chance that they even had an opportunity was still pretty impressive, although they didn't get the out as it was. The 1-1 is on the corner, now 1-2. There's the first Zabel of the day.
Zabel.
The 1-2 pitch from Stout to Bollinger on its way, and a curveball that is over for strike three. Bollinger froze, had no chance at it in the second strikeout of the inning, and 6 of the ball game for Stout, and there's now 2 down here in the top of the fourth, and they'll bring in the number 9 hitter, Isaac Rue, who was one of those 6 strikeout victims to Stouts. First pitch to Rue is upstairs for ball 1.
Rue, the number 9 hitter in the order, and again, if you're Stout, I think ideally what you're looking for is just pound the zone. I mean, pound the zone with that fastball and just force the number 9 hitter to catch up with that fastball.
And although he's got 2 strikeouts here in the inning, you like to see a 1 pitch or 2 pitch at bat instead of, or at the very least with a strikeout. You like to get him in a 1-2-3 strikes. Is now 0-2 here. You want to, 1-1's the count. You want to try and get a 3-pitch strikeout if you are going to strike someone out, as high as Stout's pitch count is right now. The 1-1 is a swing and a miss. Now it's 1-2. Here to the number 9 hitter in Isaac Rue. Top of the fourth inning. No score between Mitchell and Post State. Just 1 hit so far for each side. The 1-2 just a bit outside. Now 2-2.
Yeah, and unfortunately that one just missed, and it would have been nice to see Stout retire Rue on that pitch, but now he's got to go back to the well and do one more at 2-2.
I want to make that correction. Post State has 2 hits. The 2-2 pitch just upstairs, now 3-2, and it will be Bros that will get a head start with a 3-2 count and 2 down here in the top of the fourth inning. Top of the order is on deck, Jonah Schmidt. Stout trying to keep that from getting to the top of the order. Stout will come set. Here's a 3-2. That one misses upstairs, and it's the 5th walk issue in the ball game by Garrett Stout, and that'll bring in Jonah Schmidt, who's 0 for 2.
There's just couple of cardinal sins as a pitcher that I think drive a lot of coaches crazy, and that's leadoff walks, 2 out walks, 2 strike hit by pitches, and walking the number 9 batter. Those are just things that just will drive coaches crazy if your pitchers do that a lot.
First pitch is just outside for ball 1. Schmidt, he struck out swinging in the first inning. He popped up to Coverdale. Coverdale's playing second base, but he popped up on the first base line to Coverdale. They're trying to back pick over there, and the throw is going to go into right field, and getting to third will be Bros, and then to second Rue will take second, an error charge to Hinkle, the third error of the ball game now for Post State. And that'll bring both men in scoring position here with a 2-0 count. There is an open base now, but Kobe Larson is on deck, and he's already been able to work 2 walks from Stout. So Post State with 3 errors so far. Mitchell with just 1. Stout's going to go back to the windup. Here's the 2-0 pitch. There's a ground ball to the left side, fielded by Keenholz. The throw to first is in time, and Stout's able to work around 2 errors in the inning to retire the side and keep this a scoreless ball game. No runs, no hits, 2 errors, 2 men left on base. We head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Post State's, it's tied. They're coming to the plate, though. Listen to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Andy Gordon will lead things off, 4, 5, and 6. Here for Post State, they're trying to find their first run. They have 2 hits in the ball game. Gordon struck out looking at his first at bat. Here's the first pitch to him, and he'll line that one into center field for a base hit. And the leadoff man is aboard for the second time here in this game for Post State, and that'll bring in Gray Zabel, who grounded to the shortstop in his first at bat back in the second inning. Zabel, this is his final day here for Post State. We thought maybe he was going to be able to play on the weekends, but he leaves for North Dakota State on Sunday, and he will report to North Dakota State on Sunday, and he will not be able to play for Post State, will not be able to leave Fargo for the rest of the summer camp and all the way till school starts, and obviously football season. We hope football season happens for college, for both high school and college. First pitch is taken for strike 1. He will be the game 2 starter for Post State, and his finale as a Post State player.
I think there is some potential for him to be back if the Eights were to make it to at least the second round of the playoffs. I think the expectation is that if the Eights would get all the way to the state tournament, make it to the Final Four, he would. I think fall camp up in Fargo starts about that same time, so he may be available for the second round of the playoffs, but I think that may be the next and only time we're able to see Gray Zabel in a Pierre uniform after a storied career on the football field, the basketball court, and the baseball field here in the capital city.
And it's one too that kind of is a little bit, I shouldn't say more special. Everybody that comes through the ranks here is a special player for Pierre, as that one's fouled away now 0-2. But to kind of have this be your end of the season before the rest of the season actually ends, it gets a little bit more amplified that this is his final time for Post State, and outside of potential in that second round of the super regional tournament, it's one that in front of the home fans, because you don't know if you're going to be if you're the top 4 seed, you can host that second round, but there's no guarantee that you'll be hosting the second round if you're not the top 4. That was to the left side. That one's going to go off the glove of the shortstop and Larson, and that's going to be somewhat of an infield single, and it's going to be the first hit for Zabel. Back-to-back singles here to open up the bottom of the 4th inning for Post State. That'll bring in River Iverson, the left fielder who doubled in his first at-bat. And we'll see if he will try and drop down a bunt. The third baseman, Kerr, has to back up just a little bit because he's got to play a little bit closer to the third base bag in case Gordon takes off for third base. He's not too much of a stolen base threat. As the first pitch to Iverson, tried to bunt, tried to pull it back, but did not in time, and it's over for strike 1.
And Iverson tried to not show that bunt form until the very last second. Actually ended up chopping at the ball more than actually getting a good placement on the bunt. And we'll see if he continues to get that bunt sign from Coach White.
He will show bunt a little bit earlier, and he bunts that one foul. It's now 0-2. And now Iverson will most likely swing away. Although how good Iverson does bunt the ball, he wouldn't put it past him to try and bunt one more time, but highly unlikely down 0-2 in the count.
Yeah, highly unlikely. But again, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that you see the bunt sign still on right here, especially against a good pitcher like Brady Hawkins. I mean, if you can get a bunt down, and we know that Iverson can do it, with runs being at a premium and with a mini threat going on right here, wouldn't surprise me if they put it on.
Iverson will try and bunt, and he misses, and he's down on strikes for the first out. And that will be strikeout number 7 for number 6 for Brady Hawkins. And that'll bring up Matt Lusk with 1 down. You got to try to find a way to get at least 1 run home. You had the first 2 guys reach base. And this is where Post State struggled yesterday, trying to get those runs in scoring position. Just were unable to. That's been what's been hurting them the most in losses, has been hitting with runners in scoring position. Obviously, there's a lot of things that can go into losses and runners in scoring position. If you're getting a lot of base hits, it's going to make it a lot easier to win ball games. But for the 8 losses that Post State has, the runners in scoring position, their batting average has been really poor. The 0-1 is outside, now 1-1.
Lusk comes in the game hitting .292. He's got 14 hits and 48 at-bats, 13 RBIs, 14 runs scored, .397 on-base percentage to go with a .375 slugging percentage.
Gordon leads away from second. Zabel on at first. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Hawkins. That one, Lusk will put in the center field. That one's going to get down for a base hit. Gordon's going to try and score. The throw from the center fielder, Nash, coming into the plate, and it's not going to be fielded cleanly by the catcher in Mcginnis, and it's an RBI single for Matt Lusk, and it's a 1-0 lead for Post State's as it's first and second with 1 down, and there's the job that Coach White was wanting, finding a way to score with those runners and at least 1 runner in scoring position.
14th RBI on the year for Matt Lusk, and that's a big hit. 5th hit of the game for Post State, first run of the game, and now there's a mound conference between Mcginnis and Hawkins to talk over a few things. And again, Brady Hawkins throwing a really good game right now. Hasn't walked a man through the first 3 1/3. Has struck out 6, but he has given up those 5 hits.
And 3 here in the inning for Post State. And they have taken that 1-0 lead. Hawkins, first pitch. Gaden will drop down a bunt right back to Hawkins, but the only play is going to be to first, and nobody was there. The ball gets dropped, and A.J. Gaden is safe at first. The second baseman, Schmidt, did not get over in time to cover the bag, and that's a mental mistake by Schmidt, and Gaden will reach first with now 1 down. It's still 1 down, and the bases are now loaded.
Brings to the plate the catcher, Cade Hinkle. Hinkle comes in hitting exactly .300 on the year. He's got 18 hits and 60 at-bats. He does lead the team in walks with 14 during the year.
They're in at the corners, back in the middle, trying to turn a double play. First pitch to Cade Hinkle. That one misses, and that one just got away from the catcher, but Zabel unable to score. And that one's one that when it gets to the right side of the catcher and the umpires in the vantage point there, you don't really know how far that actually gets away from the catcher, and Zabel is unable to try and score on that pass ball. Count is 1-0 here to Hinkle. The 1-0 pitch. That one will get away, and now Zabel again did not get the jump, and it's now 2-0.
Yeah, and if Mcginnis is kind of has an average build for a high school kid. I mean, he's probably about 5'10", 5'11", maybe 6 foot, probably about 175, 80 pounds. But to be standing there waiting for the 260 pound, 6'6" Gray Zabel coming down the line with a full head of steam, that's got to put your heart in your throat real quick.
Hey, that's right. As Hawkins will come set, here's a 2-0 pitch over for strike one. And Zabel was close both times and didn't get the jump, didn't commit right away. And if you're going to try and take home, especially in a ball that doesn't get all the way to the backstop, if you don't commit, you might as well stay at third. You got a better chance of still scoring then. 2-1 pitch. That one's fouled out of play. Now 2-2 to Hinkle. The base is loaded and one down. At least one more run has to come to the plate for Post State. They got to find a way to at least lead 2-0 after the bottom of the fourth inning. Hawkins will work from the stretch. Count is 2-2, and he'll come set. And here comes the 2-2 to Cade Hinkle. That one's upstairs now, 3-2. On deck, top of the order, and Garrett Stout.
Yeah, and again, what Hinkle's looking for right here, you got to figure at 3-2 with the bases loaded, he's probably sitting on a fastball right here, and we'll see if he can turn one around.
Hawkins from the stretch, the 3-2, and Hinkle will foul it back, and he'll stay alive at 3-2 here with one down.
And that's what he got from Hawkins with a fastball, and Hinkle unfortunately was not able to put the entire barrel of the bat on it. We'll see what happens here again at 3-2. Hawkins has already showed him fastball once. It wouldn't surprise me if we see some kind of off-speed pitch here.
Hawkins comes set. Here's the 3-2 again. Upstairs, and that will walk in a run. An RBI walk for Cade Hinkle, and it's now 2-0 here for Post State. And that'll bring in Garrett Stout, who's no stranger to coming up and delivering a big hit with the bases loaded. Just a little over a week ago, he sent everybody home happy with a grand slam to walk it off against Mandan. Matt Lusk is at third, A.J. Gayden at second, and Cade Hinkle at first. Hawkins will deliver the first pitch to Stout. That's over for strike one.
And if you're Coach Brian White, you're looking pretty smart right now to alter your lineup just by putting Stout into the leadoff spot and put him right here and give him an opportunity as the best hitter on the team with the bases loaded and one out here in the bottom of the fourth to try to break this game wide open.
Count is 0-2 here to Stout, and Hawkins is trying to find a way to get that second out without another run coming to the plate. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Stout swings and misses that pitch upstairs and goes down on 3 pitches. And that'll bring up now Lincoln Keenels, who with 2 outs here in the bottom of the fourth inning will try to make it a 3-0 ball game, at least with a base hit.
Yeah, and give Hawkins a lot of credit on that at bat. I mean, he just reared back and just said I'm going to win this at bat, and that's what he did. He 3 straight strikes, 3 straight pitches.
So Hawkins still working from the stretch. Here's the first pitch to Keenels. Pops foul and out of play, and it's 0-1. Post State has scored 2 runs here in the inning. The only 2 runs of the ball game. They lead 2-0. 3 straight hits to open up the inning. A.J. Gayden gets credit for a base hit on the bunt attempt. The 0-1 pitch. Keenels down the first base line. That one gets off the bag, and it's going to drive in another run. Keenels is going to take off for second, and it will be 2 runs that score, and it might have gone off of the first baseman. Might have hit him close to near the face. And actually, yeah, he did get him on the face because it broke his sunglasses. So now there's 2 runs that score, and it's got to be a base hit. Credit to Lincoln Keenels and 2 RBIs because that's a tough play. And when you get in the face, it's hard to say that you didn't feel the ball cleanly.
Yeah, and it was a ball from the right-handed hitting Keenholz just squirted right down the first base line, and just as Bros was going to field it took one last hop and just hit the fair portion of the bag. The bag, first base bag, actually sits in fair territory, and so it hit the bag and popped up and hit Bros right in the face. And like you said, John, just did a number on his sunglasses and trying to figure out if they're salvageable or not. And he's got both Hawkins from the pitcher's mound as well as the field umpire over, making sure that he's okay, and it looks like he is. He's going to stay in the game, and good for Bros, but tough break for post 18 because again, that's one of those. If that ball is 6 inches one way or the other, I mean, that's probably a routine play that Bros makes, and Mitchell's able to get out of the inning. Fortunately for Post 8, they score a couple of runs on the play, and now kind of broke this open a little bit with a 4 spot here in the bottom of the 4th.
That's going to be end up being a credit to a 2-out, 2 RBI double for Lincoln Keenholz. The first pitch is right down the middle for strike one. And one thing that kind of wasn't really involved in the play, but Coach Nas, that the sunglasses got knocked off, and it ended up, as the catcher and Mcginnis will head out to talk with the pitcher Hawkins, it was in foul territory, but pieces of his sunglasses were sitting right there. Nas knelt down, just obviously trying to stay out of the way, but also kind of kept himself over those sunglasses too. That if Bros was going to start walking around or try and run at something, he wasn't going to step on those sunglasses. And it was kind of a heads up play there from Coach Nas at first to try and keep those sunglasses a little safe too.
Yeah, and in today's world, you don't know if those are maybe a prescription sunglass or if they're maybe an Oakley brand. I mean, they probably are, have some money invested in those. So heads up to Coach Nas for protecting those sunglasses for Bros.
The 0-1 is over for strike two, and is now 0-2 here to Coverdale. He is 1 for 3 he is 0 for 2 so far. He's the 9th man to come to the plate here in the bottom of the 4th inning. 4 runs have scored. 2 more are in scoring position. The 0-2 pitch. Coverdale will drive in both of those runs as he gets that into center field. Keenholz will round third. He'll score easily as the center fielder Nash can handle it cleanly as a 2-out, 2 RBI single for Andrew Coverdale. And that'll bring in Andy Gordon to continue the inning, who led off in the bottom of the 4th with a base hit. Came around to score the game's first run.
Yeah, and a big hit right there from Andrew Coverdale. Just was able to turn around a fastball and just got enough of it to get it out into the outfield grass. And with 2 outs, both runners are moving on contact. The Eights now have a 6-0 lead.
First pitch is past Gordon as he swings and misses for strike one. Gordon's 1 for 2. Single to open up this inning. Came around to score on the RBI single for Matt Lusk, which opened up the scoring. It's now 6-0 here for Post 8. That one's fouled back and it's now 0-2.
And the upside for Pierre is that as Hawkins has gotten into this extended inning, it has really driven his pitch count up. And so the Eights are going to leave this inning not only with a good lead whenever this inning ends, but also really have been able to shorten Brady Hawkins' day.
And the inning will come to an end as Gordon swings and misses and strikes out. But 10 guys come to the plate, 6 runs score on 6 hits in the inning. No errors and 1 man left on base. We have played 4 completes, and Post State leads Mitchell 6-0. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Top of the fifth inning. It is a 6-0 lead here for Post State. As Kobe Larson digs in for the third time. He has walked his first 2 times. As he leads off here in the fifth inning, Garrett Stout on the mound for his fifth inning of work. Trying to have a quick shutdown inning. The 1-0 is missed inside, now 2-0. So the shortstop Larson.
Garrett Stout now at 84 pitches through 4+. At this pace, he's probably not going to be able to complete all 7 innings. My guess would be is that if they had to go to the bullpen, you would likely see Matt Lusk would be my guess coming out of the pen first tonight for Post State.
2-1 pitch is fouled back and is now 2-2. Here to the shortstop in Kobe Larson to open up the top of the fifth inning. Yeah, try and get through this inning and maybe put up a 4 spot in the bottom of the fifth. The 2-2 just misses low, and it's now a full count. If you get that if you get the 0 here and then you put up a 4 spot, you end up winning the game, and Stout does get a complete game shutout. The 3-2 pitch, and for the third time, Kobe Larson has drawn a walk, and he'll reach base to open up the top of the fifth inning. Now bring in Brady Hawkins, who is 0 for 1. He struck out and walks in his 2 plate appearances.
Stout's only given up the 1 hit, but he's given up 6 walks to go with 6 strikeouts so far today.
And that's an odd stat that you don't see from Stout very often, which obviously, as you said, he's got more walks in this game than he has all season to this point. He had 5 coming in. He's got 6 here in the game. The 0-1 curveball is looked at for strike 2. Here to the number 3 hitter, pitcher in this ball game for Mitchell, Brady Hawkins. They will play Sturgis after this game concludes. And then Post State will play Sturgis to end the night. The 0-2 is missed high and inside, now 1-2.
And I don't know if I'm Garrett Stout. I want to give Hawkins anything he can hit. He's right now probably pretty frustrated. So if he stays away from him with an off-speed pitch, that might be the best solution.
Ground ball to third baseman. Fielded by Gordon. The throw to second is in time for the first one, but Hawkins is able to beat out the throw to first. So it's a fielder's choice, but they do get the lead runner, and there's 1 down here in the top of the fifth inning.
Yeah, Hawkins, a very good football player. We alluded to that in the pregame, and he got down the line like he was going the last 30 yards to the end zone with the game-winning touchdown.
And I'm sure a little frustration in that run too to get down the line quickly. The first pitch instead of check over to Hawkins as Zabel slaps the tag on him, and he's back in safely. The first pitch is just low to Peyton Nash, who is 0 for 1. He grounded out to the second baseman, Coverdale. He also drew a walk. Hawkins leads away from first. Stout will come set. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That one's over for strike 1. And it's 1-1 here to the number 4 hitter, center fielder in game 1.
Yeah, and if Stout can get through this inning and even work a batter or 2 into the 6th. Again, if you can limit the amount of pitches that you put on that second arm for Pierre out of the bullpen today, that'll be a big plus. And so you really are looking for Garrett Stout to just get through a really quick inning and try to finish this up as quick as possible.
1-2 pitch, runner is off with it, and it'll be a grounded to Zabel. He will field it and take it to the bag himself for the second out. And there's now 2 down as Nash and Zabel almost ran into each other, and my money is on Zabel to win that battle every single time. Even as slow as Zabel was moving to the bag or getting to the bag and how fast Nash was running, I still take my chances with Zabel all day long.
Yeah, we talked about his abilities as a pulling center on the Pierre Governor football team last fall, and you don't hear that term very often, pulling center, but that is what he made a mark out of and made was kind of a hallmark for him throughout the last couple of years as a football career for the Green and Black.
First pitch is taken for strike 1 to Austin Kerr. He's 0 for 2. Struck out looking and also grounded to the second baseman. That one's lined in the left field for a base hit. That one's going to get down. That should plate the first run of the ball game for Mitchell. Iverson will throw to second and keep that runner on at first as it's a 2-out RBI single for Austin Kerr. And it's now a 6-1 lead for Post State.
Yep, and just Kerr was able to just sit on a fastball and just was able to turn it around and over the head of Andy Gordon at third base, and kudos to River Iverson to keep that to just a single as he got it back into the infield very quickly and limit any potential damage with keeping Kerr at first base.
Ryan Mcginnis is the next hitter. The 1-0. That one's fouled off of the umpire's arm, and that one doesn't feel too good, and it's now 1-1, and he's going to take some time and walk the baseball out to Stout, give himself a breather. And he'll walk back to the mound, or walk back to home plate. Well, the home plate umpires, I don't know, you got the gear on, but it doesn't cover much of the arm. Doesn't cover any of the arm. And, well, the catcher's in front of you. He's still exposed to take a couple of shots on foul balls. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That one will miss outside, now 2-1. Wearing their American flag uniforms. The patriotic look here for the umpires. 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, now 2-2, as Mcginnis was well behind that 2-1 fastball.
And I don't think Pierre has anybody warming in the bullpen right now, or if they have had anybody, I have not seen anybody down there.
2-2 just misses outside, maybe a little high, now 3-2, and that'll put Austin Kerr in motion with the 3-2 count and 2 down here in the top of the fifth inning.
This is pitch 104 for Garrett Stout, so unless he gets the batter here, he will not be able to start the sixth.
And he will get Ryan Mcginnis on that pitch, and he will strike out to end the inning. No runs, or excuse me, 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. 4.5 gone by, 6-1 lead for Post State over Mitchell. You're listening to Post State Baseball. Today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Bottom of the fifth inning here at Hyde Stadium, as it is a 6-1 lead for Post State. And it will be 5, 6, and 7. Grade Zabel, River Iverson, and Matt Lusk. If anybody reaches base, then it'll go to A.J. Gayden, as Post State will try and tack on those runs that they scored 6 in the fourth inning, trying to add to it, try to at least get that run back that Mitchell scored, as we do have some action in the bullpen. Somebody walking down there around the bullpen area.
That is Matt Lusk.
Yep, Matt Lusk. So he's batting third here in the inning, so he's going to have to throw at least just a couple of pitches, and as long as Zabel doesn't swing at the first pitch and put it into play, Lusk will have a chance to throw just a little bit. And with no DH in the order, Stout will either have to come out of the game and be replaced by somebody else, or he'll go to the field. And you can potentially move everybody around to keep these same 9 guys in, and maybe you bring in Jack Van Camp to play the outfield, potentially move Zabel out to right. Maybe Gayden could go to left and Iverson to center, or potentially Van Camp to come in and play center and take somebody out of the game, whether it's potentially maybe Lincoln Keenels or maybe Andy Gordon comes out, gets a little bit of rest. There's a lot of different options that you can use, but you would think that Stout, no matter what, will be at shortstop whenever he's done pitching. Whether he comes, because he can come back out and throw to that first guy in the 6th inning and then have Matt Lusk come in the ball game.
Yeah, he is sitting at 104 pitches right now. And so the rule is you have 105 pitch max limit for the day, but you can finish the batter when you hit that 105th pitch. So the 105th pitch would be his first pitch of the inning to the first batter, but he would not be able to go beyond that regardless of how many pitches he threw in that at bat.
First pitch is inside to Zabel. He is 1 for 2. He singled back in the 4th inning. Came around to score part of that 6-run inning for Post State. That one is roped out towards right field. That one's going to get over the right fielder's head. It's going to one-hop off the wall. Zabel around first and on his way to second. He's going to be standing in with a leadoff double. And Post State is in business to open up the bottom of the 5th inning. Second hit of the ball game for Gray Zabel.
Zabel comes into the game hitting .411, 23 hits, 56 at bats, 3 doubles, a triple, 15 RBIs, 15 runs scored, and what a way to potentially close out his Post-State career here at Hyde Stadium. Just a rope out to right field, and the Eights are in business here in the bottom of the 5th.
Iverson will dig in. The first pitch is over for strike 1. He is 1 for 2. He doubled in the second. He was one of the 3 guys that actually Hawkins struck out all 3 guys in the 4th inning, but there 6 runs scored in between those 3 strikeouts. That one's out towards right field. Bollinger will come over to his left. He'll make the catch, and Zabel started a tag but will stay at second. And there's one down here in the bottom of the 5th inning to bring up Matt Lusk, who had to move from the bullpen fairly quickly. And Iverson only took 2 pitches, so Lusk, I don't know, didn't see if he got any warm-up swings at all before he has to step to the plate.
Yeah, and so you hope that Matt Lusk is able to be fairly warm. I mean, it helps being out in the field, but not giving him a chance to make any throws off the bullpen mound. We'll see if that plays any kind of a role in how he fares, especially early on in the 6th inning.
Count is 1-0 to Matt Lusk. The 1-0 pitch. That one's grounded up the middle, and that one's going to get through for a base hit. Zabel's going to round 30. He's going to try and score. The throw coming in, not going to be in time. And it's a 7-1 lead. They get the run back. And another RBI single for Matt Lusk. Gets second of the ball game. And Post State's right back up by 6. Didn't take long to reclaim that 6-run lead.
And I wonder if maybe I don't know if Hawkins is hurt or something, but after the last couple of batters, he has bent over, put his hands on his knees like he's either really tired or winded or just maybe not feeling well. But this has not been, at least in the back half of this game, has not been a real Brady Hawkins type performance, and the umpire just took a ball right off the face mask.
As the pitch came in, it was a swing and a miss by Gaden, and the catcher did not get a glove on it at all, and it ends up hitting the umpire. And Coach White came running down. Lusk was able to take second on the pitch that went off the umpire, but that's doesn't feel good. And again, even Hawkins still bent over like he's not feeling very good, and he's hurting a little bit too. But now the focus on the umpire. That one looked like it got up around the left shoulder of the umpire, the home plate umpire. And that's a tough one to take. And we'll have a mound visit as well from the Mitchell coaching staff, as they do have action in the left field bullpen now. And Zabel had brought out a cup of water for the umpire to take a drink. And just a tough break there for the home plate umpire. And, now you look at both Hawkins and the home plate umpire, kind of making sure they're both okay. And interesting, just that Hawkins is, even after that pitch, he was still hunched over, like he was still not feeling very good. But they do have action in the left field bullpen now for Mitchell.
Yeah, and it's been a tough half inning for the home plate umpire. I mean, not only did he take a ball off the arm in the last at bat, now he takes one right off the face mask, and he's he's just, kind of beat up. I mean, it's just one of the hazards. I mean, even though you've got the mask and the chest protector, if you take a 90-mile-an-hour fastball anywhere on your body, you're gonna have a reaction. And for Mitchell, we've got a mound visit, and Brady Hawkins' day is done on the mound.
So we will step aside and we'll tell you what the changes are here after this break. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR, today's KCCR.com. Josh Grossteter will be the new pitcher here for Mitchell as he will work with the runner at second and one out here in the bottom of the fifth inning, as we can't close the book completely on Brady Hawkins, but he did go 4 1/3 and giving up right now 7 runs in the ball game and could potentially give up 8 if Luss comes around to score. He struck out quite a bit. He struck out a lot of guys in that ball game with 8 strikeouts in total and did not walk anybody.
Walked one.
Yeah, did walk one guy, and that was the only blemish to Hawkins, and gave up those 10 hits to Post State. So Grossteter will be the new man on the mound for the Mitchell Post 18, as he did throw against Post State once. He threw 3 innings in Game 2, gave up 6 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 strikeouts, a walk, and he was the man that gave the home run up to Andy Gordon. First pitch, Gayton will foul it out of play, and it'll land just to the right of the press box. Boy, if that was right over here, just a little bit to the left, that would have been perfect spot for me to reach out and make the catch. That's all I want, just one time.
You just want one foul ball.
Just one foul ball. Although the one that's going to come is going to be a screamer at me. That one's a screamer out to left center field. That one is going to be caught by the center fielder in Nash, and there's now 2 down. And that one, the wind hung that one up from A.J. Gayden, and I'll bring in Cade Hinkle.
Gayden came into the game hitting .381, 16 hits and 42 at bats, 7 RBIs, 12 runs scored. Probably over the course of the last week, probably one of the hotter hitters in this Post 8 lineup.
Yeah, he had 7 hits in the Minot tournament, 7 for 11. That's a good stretch for anybody. Go all the way to the major leagues for that. Hinkle will sky this one out towards right field. It'll be taken by Bollinger. He'll make the catch and retire the side here in the bottom of the 5th inning. 1 run scores on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We have played 5 completes. Post State leads 7-1 over Mitchell. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR, today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here at the top of the 6th inning, it is going to be Matt Lusk on the mound for Post State. as Jack Van Camp will move into the ball game. He'll play center field, and he'll take over in the number 2 spot for Lincoln Keenels, while Stout moves from the mound to shortstop as Lusk will try and get the final 6 outs here in the ball game to get Post State what would be their 17th win of the year.
Yeah, Lusk, this will be his 5th appearance on the season. He's pitched 11 innings through those 4 games. He has 3 of the 4 saves for Post State. This is not a save situation with the 8s up 7-1 here going into the top of the 6th. He does have a win against no losses, a 1.91 ERA, and a WHIP, which is walks and plus hits divided by innings pitched. So kind of a measure of how many base runners you allow. His WHIP is 1.00. So Matt's been very efficient so far. 5 walks, 12 strikeouts, and 11 innings.
Talking about me being Bill Nye the Science Guy. You're over here breaking down all the scientific stuff.
Hey, that's why we got the bow ties on today.
We want to thank Todd Kennecke for giving us the bow ties to wear for this ball game, or these 2 ball games. As I'm sure there'll be a picture on social media at some point here by the end of the night of our nice fancy look here up in the press box. First pitch from Matt Lusk to the number 6 hitter, 7 hitter, Brady Brose, is taken for strike 1. Brose has reached base twice. He doubled and reached on an air. The 0-1 is upstairs now, 1-1.
And with Matt Lusk taking the mound, we can close the book on Garrett Stout today. Stout, 5 complete innings, 2 hits, 1 run, which was earned, 6 walks, 7 strikeouts.
And Andrew Coverdale will race all the way to foul territory to make another catch. And Gray Zabel, he's over there. He's camping out at first base, and Coverdale is covering all kinds of ground as he makes the catch in foul territory for the first out. And I will say that he, as Gray Zabel again getting a little bit from the dugout over at first base from Post State. But that probably was an easier play for Coverdale to make. That one's lined to center field, and Jack Van Camp is right there. And there's one pitch in the second out to Parker Bollinger, and that'll bring in Isaac Room. Because of where that is able, he could still make that play, but Coverdale, although it was a long run for him, has a better view of that racing across from second base over instead of Zabel kind of almost going a little bit over the shoulder to try and make that catch. Yeah,
that's a tough catch for most first basemen to make. If you can make that play as a first baseman, you've got some real defensive skills. And so a ball like that hit into foul ground a lot of times becomes the second baseman's ball just because of the angle that they have on the play.
Count is 1-1 here to Isaac Rue. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Upstairs now 2-1. Rue, he struck out in the second inning, and he also walked both straight at second in the fourth. 7-1 is the score. Post State leads. They have 10 hits in the ball game. Mitchell with just 2. The 2-1 is at the knees now, 2-2. For Post State in the bottom of the 6th inning, it'll be the top of the order with Van Camp getting his first at-bat in the number 2 spot. 2-2 pitch, grounded to the right side. Takes a hop for Andrew Coverdale. The throw to first is in time. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Matt Lusk on the mound. As we have played now 5.5, Post State leads Mitchell 7-1. You're listening to Post State Baseball. Today is KCCR. Today is KCCR.com. It is going to be the top of the bottom of the 7th inning, but the top of the order, bottom of the 6th inning, but the top of the order for Post State. Getting all those numbers mixed up there. It's going to be Garrett Stout, Jack Van Camp, and Andrew Coverdale to lead things off. Van Camp will get his first at-bat of the ball game as he moved into center field and took Lincoln Keenel's spot in the batting order when Matt Lusk came in the game to pitch. As Stout is 1 for 3, Coverdale is 1 for 3. Lincoln Keenels went 1 for 3 in the ball game. And here is Stout to walk to the plate, and it will face Josh Grossteter for the first time. Mitchell and Sturgis will play after this game, and then we'll be back on the air sometime, somewhere around 8:30, maybe 8:15, depending on how quick or slow that game goes in front of us. As the first pitch is upstairs for ball 1. And we'll have that second game for you. Weather pending. There is some rain out towards our west, and we hope that stays away and stays north of us so we can get these 2 ball games in. The 1-0 is missed for ball 2. Oh, that from up here in the press box, that looked pretty good.
Yeah, if it missed, it didn't miss by much. And we'll see. Grossteter doesn't have quite the velocity that Hawkins does, but looks like a pretty efficient pitcher.
And that was fouled or popped up foul, and the shortstop and Larson will slide and make the catch near that the warning track area, and the leadoff man is retired here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And see a little bit from Stout. To me, watching it, and this is why I'm in the press box and not coaching baseball right now, but I think Stout is trying to add to that home run total a little bit more than as good of a hitter as he is. He's trying a little bit too hard to launch one out instead of just letting it come naturally to him.
He's got a natural uppercut swing, and so if you just miss, you end up doing like he just did, which was pop one up into the third base foul ground, and it was a nice play by Kobe Larson to he had a long run and made a sliding catch just before he hit the fence over there.
1-1 is skied in foul territory near the dugout on the third base side, and it will get in the stands, and it's now 1-2.
Jack Van Camp coming into the game today, hitting .278. He's got 10 hits and 36 at-bats, 5 RBIs, 4 runs scored to go along with a triple and that big grand slam home run down in Brandon last week,
which gave Post State a 7-1 lead over Sioux Falls East, which ended up being their 6-1 lead that ended up being the final score. That one's out towards right field. The right fielder going back on it, and somehow Bollinger looked like he might have slipped getting out of the gates trying to get that fly ball, and he was able to recover in time to make the catch. Otherwise, Van Camp could have easily been on third base with a triple. And instead, it's now 2 down for Andrew Coverdale. At the top of the 7th for Mitchell, they will have the top of the order, which at this point, they would need 6 runs to try and keep the ball game alive. After Matt Lusk got a 1-2-3 inning, there's still 1 out left to get here in the bottom of the 6th, and 3, 4, and 5 up in the order. These are 3 good bats that can easily drive in a couple more runs. As Andrew Coverdale takes strike 1, he got a 2 RBI single in his last at bat, part of that 6-run inning in the 4th. Now 0-2 to Coverdale, 1-1 to Coverdale. 1-2 to Coverdale, or 0-2 to Coverdale. Bill Van Camp over on the scoreboard. He's here's the 1-2 pitch. There's a ground ball to the right side. That's through for a base hit. No matter what the count is, Andrew Coverdale will get a base hit, his second of the game, and there's 1 on and 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
32nd hit of the year for Coverdale in just 25 games, and so the 8s, hopefully, with the heart of the order coming up, the number 3 hitter Andy Gordon coming up now, maybe they can string a couple hits together, add to the 7-1 lead.
First pitch to Gordon, that one up, foul territory, first base side, and the first baseman will run out of room as it was taken for his now 0-1. I do want to say, I give Bill Van Camp a little bit of trouble, but he did step up in Brandon and end up being the scoreboard operator out there. You and I were in the press box. Bill Van Camp was doing the scoreboard. Rob Coverdale was in there for a little bit. It was all Pierre guys in the Brandon scoreboard. Drove 3 hours to be up in the press box. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and Gordon will pop that one in foul territory again, and that one will also get out of play, and it's now 0-2.
Yeah, I think Bill Van Camp's won a number of awards for his volunteerism over the years.
This now 0-2 count to Andy Gordon. He is 1 for 3. He struck out twice. He also singled to lead off the 4th inning that started that 6-run bottom of the 4th. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Gordon. That one is out towards right field. Down the line, it's going to get into foul territory, and it's going to land in foul territory in play, but will be foul.
Bollinger's had a lot of track time over there in right field this inning. I mean, he's had to chase down a couple of balls and is getting his speed work in out there today.
As Gordon has been trying to shoot to the right side in the 3 pitches that he has seen so far. Grosteeder, he will come set. And here is the 0-2 again. Curveball that stays upstairs, now 1-2. On first is Andrew Coverdale. Graves Zabel will come to the plate if Gordon is able to reach to extend the inning. Here in the bottom of the 6th, 1-2 pitch. That one's looked at for strike 3, and that is the 3rd out. And we'll end the inning as Gordon will strike out for the 3rd time. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We head to the top of the 7th. Matt Lusk trying to close the door and give Post State their 17th win as they lead Mitchell 7-1. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. To the top of the 7th we go, and Matt Lusk will try and close it out. It's the top of the order for the Mitchell post 18. It will be Schmidt, Larson, and then Grosteeder, who is in that number 3 hole for Brady Hawkins. First pitch is taken for strike 1 to Schmidt, who is 0 for 3 in the ball game. He struck out the first, popped out to the second baseman Coverdale near first base in the 3rd, and then the 4th inning grounded out to the shortstop. At that time was Lincoln Keenels, as it's now a 1-1 count to Jonah Schmidt. The 1-1 from Lusk. Popped up, foul, and that will get out of play. Now 1-2.
Jonah Schmidt, I think, I don't quote me on this, but probably the younger brother of Jed Schmidt, if you remember the name, multiple sport athlete from Mitchell, who graduated 2017 and now is a pitcher for the Augustana Vikings. Really good left-handed pitcher, just an all-around, centerpiece of that state championship football team for Mitchell back in 2016.
It was confirmed that he is the brother by research department. The first pitch to Kobe Larson as he was hit by a pitch was Jonah Schmidt, and Larson will take strike 1. He has walked 3 times. He has not scored any of the times he's been walked, as a pickoff attempt and back in safely as Schmidt.
Yeah, quick deep dive into Ancestry.com. Pick that one up.
It's a 0-1 count. The pitch from Lusk, that one is shot foul down the left field side and out of play. Now 0-2.
Yeah, and the thing you like about Lusk is that he's going to be right around the plate, and his pitches move well. You just seem like you never get a good swing on the ball if you're the opposing batter facing Matt Lusk, and he just does a nice job controlling the strike zone.
0-2 pitch. That one is popped up on the right side. Coverdale will go into shallow right field. A.J. Gayden will call him off. He'll make the catch, and there's one down here in the top of the 7th, and that'll bring in Josh Grosteeder, his first at-bat here in the ball game. As Hawkins went 0 for 2. He walked, reached on a fielder's choice, and struck out, and hope that he's got himself a little bit of shade and cooling off a little bit. Seemed like maybe he was overheating some in that before he was taken out of the ball game.
Yeah, I mean, just the way that he carried himself out around the mound, especially. I mean, we saw him go to his put his hands on his knees multiple times. I mean, just like he was just totally exhausted, and that's not exactly something you typically see from a lot of baseball players, especially a lot of pitchers. So you just hope that he is doing well, and like you said, getting hydrated and a little shade and a little rest.
There's a ground ball that will be charged in air to Andy Gordon. As he tried to really charge in on it and try to short hop it, did not feel it cleanly. And fourth error of the ball game to Post State. There's now 2 on with 1 out. That one's popped up by Peyton Nash. Gordon, is he going to have enough room over there? Right by the dugout and just can't make the catch. He looked down in the last second to see if he was there by the fence or by the dugout, and when he looked back up, all of a sudden it was right there on him and trying to make a quick basket catch and could not.
Yeah, that's a tough play because you're trying to find the ball, the fence, the railing for the dugout, try to not, turn an ankle by stepping on the cement slab over there, and so it's a tough play, and unfortunately the Eights just weren't able to come up with that out.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. That one will be in the dirt, and a good stop there from Cade Hinkle. We haven't said that too many times today, not because Hinkle hasn't made any good stops, but he hasn't really had to make too many of those stops in the dirt. And it's so routine most of the time that you don't really notice it. Here's the 2-1 pitch. That one's down the left field line and foul. Hit the bottom of the fence, and it'll roll back into fair territory, so Iverson will have to go track it down out in left field. Count is now 2-2 to Peyton Nash.
Four errors on the day for Post State, and right now, even though they're in the driver's seat, it's not often that you see a team that has a six run lead be -3 in the error category. 1 error for Mitchell and 4 for Post State.
There's a ground ball to Stout at second. The throw to first is just not in time, and there's now 2 away, and Nash was able just to beat the throw to first for the fielder's choice. And I think Zabel started pointing to the runner in Grossteter, thinking that maybe he interfered with the throw. But been tough for the home plate umpire to make that call when the field umpire did not make a call. But there are still 2 down, and that was a good play there from Stout to try and start a potential double play. First pitch is fouled to the right side to Austin Kerr, who is 1 for 3. He got an RBI single, the lone run for Mitchell here in the ball game. He struck out looking and also grounded out to the second baseman in his 3 at-bats. First and third with 2 down. 1 out away from their 17th win of the season. And now 1 strike away as a swing and a miss by Kerr. And he's down the count 0-2. And would potentially try and get that back to 10 games over 500 if they can beat Sturgis in game number 2 of the day for Post State. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Upstairs now 1-2, but they still got 1 out left to get here in this ball game.
And I think I figured out we've talked about Gray Zabel getting a little flack from the Pierre dugout today as Andrew Coverdale has made some plays in front of and behind him. My guess is that Zabel's just trying to save his legs a little bit for game number 2. He will be the starting pitcher today, so I think he's just trying to catch a little bit of a break. You almost got that foul ball right there. I know.
If there's no canopy right here, I wish that they would take that away because I'd have a better chance of making a catch. I just stuck my hands out because I don't know where else it would be. The 1-2 pitch, that one will come in and hits Austin Kerr, and now the bases are loaded. And as you said, Greg, 2 strikes and you hit the guy, and there's a cardinal sin and one that will just drive coaches crazy. And the ball game stays alive for at least 1 more batter. It's going to be Ryan Mcginnis, who is 0 for 3. Lots of work from the windup. Here's the first quick pitch to Mcginnis, and it's taken high for ball 1.
Yeah, that's kind of a double cardinal sin right there. 0-2, 2 outs, and you hit the batter. You're 1 pitch away from ending the game, and just let an off-speed pitch get away from him.
Count is now 2-0 here to Mcginnis. As Brady Bros is the man on deck, but I believe it's somebody else that's in the ball game for Bros. It was not him at first base. Here's the 2-0 pitch. That one is at the letters, now 2-1.
Been kind of a tough day all the way around. Bros takes a ground ball off the face, breaks his sunglasses. The home plate umpire's taking a couple of pitches. He's a little beat up today. Hawkins maybe having a little bit of heat exhaustion. Just a tough day all around.
It is Joe Van Overshield that's actually at the plate. He's down, or is a 2-2 count. 2-2 pitch is upstairs. That one will get to the backstop, and a run will score. And it's now 7-2. And it's still second and third with a count at 3-2. So Van Overshield, his first plate appearance here in the top of the seventh inning. Trying to keep this ball game alive.
Don't remember Van Overshield's stats. I do remember he had a ringing double when we were down in Mitchell about a month ago.
Here's the 3-2 pitch, and he'll foul that one back. As Van Overshield went 1 for 3 with an RBI. It was in that 9-3 win for Post State that he got that base hit. Here's a 3-2 again. That one will miss, and we'll have another batter come to the plate.
Van Overshield, I remember the name, starting linebacker for the Mitchell Colonels last fall as a sophomore. So we will see a fair amount from him, I think, over the next couple of years.
Jake Helleloyd will step to the plate here for the Mitchell as they'll come to the plate with 2 down with the bases loaded. First pitch, that one will skip away from Hinkle, but it went off the foot of the umpire. And all of a sudden, it's a 7-2 ball game, and the tying run is on deck here with 2 outs. The 1-0 pitch, that one came in and almost hit Helleloyd. And Peyton Zabel will come out and talk with Matt Lusk.
Peyton Zabel, the pitching coach for Post State, and will get his first start on the mound tomorrow night for the Pierre Trappers, coming back from elbow surgery that he had about 6-8 months ago, and had some work done on his elbow, and now he is going to get a rehab start and will be the first time on the mound, pitching in front of the home fans here at Hyde Stadium. Be a real treat for Peyton, and real treat for the Pierre faithful.
Yeah, and with a summer that has been longing for a lot of baseball. Obviously, we've had a lot of baseball so far with Post State, but for the Trappers to be playing too, it's going to be good for the Pierre faithful to come out and enjoy watching Zabel pitch again here at Hyde Stadium. Over for strike one after the mound visit. Here's the 2-1 pitch from Matt Lusk to Helleloyd. That one is now over, and it's now 2-2. For the bases loaded. There's a ground ball to the right side. Fielded by Coverdale. He'll flip to second to Stout, and that won the ball game. And Post State will pick up the win here in Game 1. A 1-run scores in that inning. They did not record a hit. It was an error and 3 men left on base. 7-2. Post State wins it here in Game 1. Back in 2 minutes to wrap this one up. You listen to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here to Hyde Stadium, 7-2 is the final score as Post State beats Mitchell in game number 1 to move to now 17-8 on the season. Mitchell had just 2 hits in the ball game. They end up leaving quite a few guys on base, though. They end up leaving 11 guys on base after getting those 2 hits and having 1 error and 11 men left on base. Post State had 7 runs on 11 hits in the ball game and end up leaving 6 guys on base, 1 in each of the 6 innings. Literally, actually, 1 in each of the 6 innings. But they had 4 errors in the ball game. As Post State, they will win here game 1, 7-2, and a good outing from Garrett Stout, finished out by Matt Lusk.
Yeah, and give a lot of credit to Garrett Stout. Maybe not his most efficient outing. Maybe not what he would tell you is his best outing. But he battled, came up with. Even though he only gave up the 2 hit, I think the 6 walks is something that he would tell you is an indication that he probably was not the sharpest today, but he countered that with 7 strikeouts and 7 strikeouts over 5 innings. I mean, and he looked like he really was feeling comfortable, like the shoulder and the arm were really loose out there today. So credit Stout with a good outing today, and then credit Matt Lusk with coming in. And even though he got into a bit of a jam there in the 7th, Lusk's line for the day: 2 innings, 1 hit, 1 run that was earned, 1 walk, no strikeouts. So again, a good pitching performance from the Pierre pitching staff. And if you can continue to get that kind of performance from the Pierre pitchers, and this has been a good Pierre pitching staff so far this year. As a team, they have a 3.34 ERA. I mean, that's pretty solid, and that's reflective of their win-loss record. Now standing at 17-8.
As Post State, they win 7-2. Yeah, 17-8 on the season, and Gray Zabel had himself a good day at the plate with those 2 hits. Garrett Stout had a base hit as Lincoln Keenel is a 2-out, 2 RBI double. Matt Lusk had 2 hits with an RBI in each of his 2 at-bats as Post State was able to get that 7-2 win here over Mitchell in game 1, and Mitchell and Sturgis will play here in game 2, and then we'll get back to it here in game number 3. But Gray Zay will be starting on the mound, and Greg, it's going to be fun to watch him throw at least one. Potentially, this is the last time he throws. More than likely, you would think with the amount of work that he'll be having in college, his arm will not be to the point where they probably wants to put him in that situation to throw. Although he's a bulldog, and he'll give you everything he's got every time he gets out on the mound. But this will probably be the last time he pitches, whether he gets to play again or not for Post State.
Yeah, absolutely, and just with that big left-handed frame coming at you, he, like we've talked about, he stands about 6'6" and probably checks in at about 260, 270 right now. And so when he releases the ball, he's probably about 55, 56 feet from home plate by the time he delivers the ball. And he's going to generally sit in the mid, somewhere in the mid 80s with his fastball. And so even though he maybe is a couple notches slower than Garrett Stout, he's going to be really intimidating because that fastball, especially like I said, coming from 55, 56 feet, gets on you really quick.
And we'll see what Sturgis has as Post State will play Sturgis in that second game. First chance to see them this year. Did not play them at all last year, although got a chance to watch them in the region tournament here at Hyde Stadium last season. They end up going 0-2, losing to Post 22 and then Post 320. So did not have to play Sturgis at all in 2019. But a chance to watch them and a chance to kind of scout and see what they're about before Post State plays them in that second game. We will send things back to the AM studio here to the KCCR in just a little bit. News Director Zach Nelson getting set up for severe weather coverage as we have a severe thunderstorm warning in Ziebach County. He will take over from that, and we will send the things over to him here whenever he is prepared. He will send me a text, and we'll get things started. You're listening to KCCR, Pierre Riverfront Broadcasting Station. As we come to the 6 o'clock hour, we'll keep an eye on the weather. We'll keep an eye on how things are going, and if we have to go strictly to the YouTube channel, as you can go to KCCR Sports for that game coming up here at around 8:30. If we have to do that, as Zach Nelson could potentially still be on air for severe weather coverage. If not, if we have a break and we're able to get this game underway, and hopefully that we can, we'll let you know one way or the other. Either Zach will let you know if it's going to be just over on the YouTube channel at KCCR Sports, but also obviously if you hear us on the radio, then you know that we're going to be on the radio. So it's simple as that. So we'll throw things to him here in just a little bit as he's preparing to get severe weather coverage started. John Winkler alongside Greg Deem. Post game of Game 1 as Pierre beats Mitchell 7-2 in that game. Now 7-8, snap a two-game losing streak, and really for Post State, that's as many as they've lost in a row. They had lost 2 in a row. Actually, they did lose 2 in a row in Minot, and then lost 2 in a row yesterday, but have not lost 3 in a row so far. But then you look at where we sit at in the get to the state tournament. Well, you only have to lose 2 games to be eliminated. But for Post State, that's what you kind of like to see. You don't like to see a whole lot of losses build up, and they haven't allowed that to happen throughout the season.
Yeah, if you can just maintain some consistency and just again continue to put W's on the board for Pierre Post State, especially this year where wins against Class A South Dakota American Legion teams count in those postseason PowerPoint standings. This is a big win. Mitchell came into this game. I think they were 8th in the PowerPoint standings, sitting right at about 500 in the 500. At least as of yesterday, they were 8-8 against South Dakota Class A teams. So this is a big win. I mean, anytime you can pick up a win, it's a plus, especially against a good Mitchell team, and especially beating a very high quality pitcher like Brady Hawkins.
Post State wins 7-2 here in Game 1. We will send things back to the station as News Director Zach Nelson standing by with severe weather coverage. Zach, take it away.